Hey guys, it's Jacob, and today I'm going to be continuing my studying and sort of when to do what. I started to call it how to study, but I realized I didn't really go in too much depth for that. I more of put out a plan on what types of things to cover. And so, when you're studying for English, we're not going to go with the traditional 2 day model. We're going to go with the 3 day model because English tests can be two types, and I'll cover both types. Well, there's two main categories, which I'll go into. So the first type is going to be like a book test, and that's going to be like a test on a book that you're reading. So, I just recently read The Hobbit in English class, and we had a large essay test on that with 10 essay questions on it. And so for that kind of test, it's open notes, open text, because you have to provide text support and stuff, but it's really just testing your comprehension overall of the novel and seeing how much you can explain. So in that type of test, on day one, I'm gonna call it D1. You are going to look back over. So you're going to look over key moments in the book. So if your teacher really talked about a moment a lot, like for example, when Bilbo in The Hobbit he gives up a very precious gem called the Arkenstone to um, the to the army that is and a standoff with his friends in the mountain, and he gives up his share of treasure, so he doesn't get any treasure. I'm trying to just dumb it down in case anybody hasn't read the book. But he gives it over for the greater good. So that was his, climax of his personal journey. So like that was a key moment. And then when he killed a spider and when led the spiders away and killed some of them in Mirkwood, that was another key moment. So that's very essential that you look over key moments like that on day one. You know it's a key moment by your own identification, or if your teacher talked about it a lot. Definitely go over things your teacher talked about a lot specifically in the text. And at the same time, if you think that it was important to the book and you really feel strongly that it was a certain moment, then definitely go back and look that over. Um, I know a common book for tests is Lord of the Flies. So make sure that you're really reading over some key points. I mean, I would even go back to the beginning when new characters are introduced for the very first time. Um, just to and then sort of skim through the important parts of the text. Uh, just to get a basic understanding of the important moments. Anyway, on day two, I would look over notes. So hopefully you've got a notebook that your teacher gives you handouts to glue in for. And, if you're younger, you're probably gluing stuff in. If you're a little older, then you're probably not gluing as much stuff in. And you're just taking notes on your own. And then on day two, you're going to want to look over those notes just to make sure that you've got an understanding of what the teacher thinks is important. Because if she's giving you notes or she told you to take notes on it, it is definitely going to be on the test, and that's going to be a very key part of your test prep. And then on day three, I would summarize each chapter. Now, not in full paragraph form. Like, if there was a chapter and, it was all about, I'm just going to make this up. Let's say there was a book about a dog who, ran away and then came back. If the first chapter was about what the dog looked like and why he ran away, put, dog equals white and like white plus brown. Name was like, I don't know, Buddy, just, and then ran away squirrel. Just basic stuff like that. All right, and that's what you're going to do on day three to prep for a book test. And then also on day three, give yourself a few quiz essay questions that you think might be on it. Like, for example, sticking with the dog example, why did the dog run away and why did he come back, and then write a paragraph about that. Just to make sure that you've got an understanding of it. So that's going to be the first type of English test, and that's going to be more of a, test on the book or the material that you're reading in your class. And I'll go over the second just general category now. So then we're still going to stick with the 3 day model to keep it simple for you guys. And then the second type is just going to be a material test. And this is going to be a test like all of your other classes have on your unit or something. So say you're covering like figurative language in English. It's just a pretty basic topic, which I'm coming out with a video on later. So you're just covering figurative language in your English class. Well, then and you've got a test coming up on day 1, go over the types of, definitions if you have it, because, I don't want to stay just specific to figurative language, but in this example, you would say, like, onomatopoeia, a word that's a sound like wham, that kind of thing. Okay, so, and then on day 2, go over notes, so on whatever you're learning, for example, figurative language, you might go over your notes and some examples, go over notes and examples. And then day 3 would be like practice questions that you can ask your teacher for, or ask her for online resources or links. Okay? And that is going to be the basic 3-day plan for studying for both types of English tests. And I know I used examples, so it was a little more specific, but you can still apply the same general thing. All right, bye guys.